Hating on men has been a trend for a while on the internet, and while sometimes criticism is warranted, there is one man capitalizing on the growing hatred. Just before we get into it, I wanted to add a small note that I feel is greatly impactful. When I say man haters, I do not mean feminists. Yes, there are man hating feminists, but to say that they are all like that is the same as saying all men's right activists are incels. Both groups have their extremists, and these are usually the loudest voices. With that out of the way, meet Kyle Prue. Now, Kyle Prue is an author who started his career at a respectably young age of 18 when he released his first book entitled The Sparks. Since then, Kyle has continued his creative lifestyle by pursuing acting, having received a BFA in performance from the University of Michigan. His acting has blossomed into a fairly successful YouTube channel, and whilst his talents are very student film, it is clear that he has aspirations that he has in mind as he continues to create. With this all being even more respectful when you bear in mind that he has managed to do all of this while suffering from Lyme disease. So, what is the issue? Well, let's cover his latest book entitled 109 Things to Say to Shatter the Male Ego: How to Piss Off Men. Now, from the title alone, I am sure you can see the issue, but this is only one of many that we will find. Let's start off with the simplest reason this book is bad. It is lazy. Now, as an author myself, I am no stranger to how difficult a book is to complete, let alone publish. But the statements in this book are just bad. Let's look at a few, shall we? You seem to be having a lot of feelings right now. In a world where men are forced into hiding their emotions, usually coming out only when they are angry, to shame them when they do display their feelings is hurtful at best and abusive at worst. This sort of discourse is the reason men hide their feelings to begin with and will only result in more abuse. You're like the male Amy Schumer. Now, I dislike Amy Schumer as much as the next person. I find her sense of humour annoying and her non stolen jokes repetitive and gross. But this just feels wrong here. Given the context that your main demographic is women, you couldn't have picked a male comedian? Oh, that's right, you did. You remind me of James Corden. So you have effectively made the same joke twice and tried to pass it off as two. It would seem as though there may have been a set limit that Mr. Prue was attempting to reach. I love dad bods, just like Jason Momoa. Ah, body shaming. This brings me on to another reason I dislike this book: the simple hypocrisy of it. Imagine for a second that someone wrote a book about how to piss off women and then included, I love normal women bodies like Scarlett Johansson. There would rightfully be outrage over such a statement. It is a misandrist statement that shames men for not having a perfect body. And to top it off, a lot of women that I have asked stated their love for dad bods. You would make such a good Frodo. Frodo was a brilliant example of what male representation should be in media. Not only does he insult my boy Frodo, but he further exemplifies this by noting that if it isn't taken as an insult, replace Frodo with Boromir. For this, I need to call in an expert. I am not a big Lord of the Rings nerd, but fortunately, my partner is. Take it away, Theodel.
Thank you, JS. I think I have some expertise on the matter as a huge fan of the books, movies, and anything Tolkien related. I will not accept any Boromir slander on my watch. A fundamental misunderstanding of why male Lord of the Rings characters that are well written, really good representation from men, is one of my biggest pet peeves. Boromir is the most human of the Fellowship with his flaws and weaknesses. He is a man living in a world of constant war, needing to be the strongest to protect his country. One of the strongest symbols of a protector, and in the extended version of the movies, shown as a defender of the injustice of his brother towards an authority, his own father. When he betrays Frodo, it is not coming from a place of unredeemable rage. He's a normal man with strong virtues being corrupted by a godlike force to do everything to protect his people. And because of his strong will and recognition of what he did was wrong, he willed the strength to lastly protect the two most vulnerable people in the group, Merry and Pippin, defending them to the last breath. So if being Boromir is an insult, I'll gladly be wrong. Man, this book reads like an AI made for female man-haters.
Thank you, hun. If you don't know her, that was Theodelle. And if you're into art and history, then she is going to be the channel for you. Moving on. Do you think you could beat a goose in a fight? I cannot see how this joke is an insult. Me and my partner have spent many a night laying in bed debating which animals we believe we could take in a fight. And have you ever come face to face with a goose, Mr. Prue? Those little buggers are bloody nasty. You have the confidence of a much taller man. And we are back to body shaming. This entire point is so overused, it has lost all sense of humour about it. Now, I could go on, but I think you get the point. The jokes in this book are simply abusive and not even that funny to begin with. I could also mention the various statements on his TikTok as well, including labelling all male criticism as simply hate from incels, or videos that are actually more concerning, such as when he called love bombing extremely funny. But I think I will end it there. To summarise, this is a spiteful book that does nothing to quell the gap between men and women, and in fact widens it. Hate like this will only ever make things worse for both sides. This is a war with no winners. In the interest of both men and women, I am electing to leave resources for both sides to help anyone going through a rough time right now. To be a feminist doesn't mean you have to hate men, and to be a men's rights activist doesn't mean you have to hate women. We should be supporting each other rather than attacking each other. Now, did you read this book? Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and I will see you all in the next video.